Today, we're going to be talking about the 5 remaining head coaching vacancies in the NFL, and I'm going to be giving you my predictions as to who will be going where, who will be leading your potential team into the future as we embark on the conference championships this weekend. My predictions video for that will be out tomorrow, as well as full reactions on Sunday, so you don't want to miss that. If you love the NFL, not subscribed, hit that button. Let's get into today's video. All right, so I want to first talk about the 2 signings that we did have, just a little bit to give my thoughts on them again. Mike Vrabel to the New England Patriots. This is a move that anybody could have seen coming a mile away once Robert Kraft moved on from Gerard Mayo. Mike Vrabel in the Patriots Ring of Honor. Mike Vrabel, former Patriots player, has a good relationship with Robert Kraft. And not only that, but when you look at the Patriots job, you can certainly make the case it was the best one available. A young rookie quarterback in Drake May that has shown some great flashes. An owner and a culture of winning in New England. A ton of money to spend. A high draft pick, not just in the first round, but the second, the third. You can build out a really good roster in New England. We've seen it before. We've seen success with this ownership group, and we will see it again, I believe, under Mike Vrabel. And then Ben Johnson goes to the Chicago Bears. This is the other most desirable job, right? The Patriots and Bears, those were the 2 best jobs. In terms of what the Patriots have over the Bears, ownership, a history of winning. The Bears, you could argue, the quarterback talent, where you at on there, but offensive talent clearly is on the side of Chicago with DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, the backs that they have, Cole Kmet. The defense, even in Chicago, just as better personnel-wise. And Ben Johnson heads over there. He's going to bring in Dennis Allen as a defensive coordinator. Really, really good signing there. I love this for Chicago because they finally got their guy. Would they have liked Vrabel? Maybe, but it felt like they were pretty quickly out of the running for that, as it did everybody once the New England job became available. The Chicago Bears land Ben Johnson should be great for the development of Caleb Williams and this Bears offense. So now we move on to the teams that have available job openings, and I do think the next job opening that will come to a close is the New York Jets. The Jets interviewed pretty much everybody under the sun, from Matt Nagy to Brian Flores to Arthur Smith to Rex Ryan to Darren Rizzi to Steve Spagnuolo to Jeff Hafley. Ultimately, I think that it's pretty clear at this point the Jets are going to land on Lions defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn. Glenn used to be a linebacker for the New York Jets. He clearly has a connection to the franchise. The Jets seem to be wanting to build a strong defensive culture. They go from Saleh to potentially Glenn here. They don't exactly have a direction at quarterback or necessarily set in stone plans to bring in a young quarterback that needs to be developed. So I don't think there's a real need to have an offensive mind in the building. I think it's potential that Aaron Rodgers comes back. But even if not, my guess is they have a veteran quarterback in that spot going into next season and just trying to shift the culture in New York. I think a huge thing for the Jets is going to be, who do they have come in as an offensive coordinator alongside Aaron Glenn? Because, at a high end, it could be what you see in Washington with Dan Quinn and Cliff Kingsbury. If you get the right OC, that is going to be crucial for the Jets. But at this point, I think Aaron Glenn ends up being the guy for New York. Up next, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars. And as many of you guys know, there's still a special place in my heart for Trevor Lawrence. I do believe that he still has the potential to grow as a player and become a top 10 quarterback in football. I thought we saw flashes of it the year that he went to the playoffs and came back against Justin Herbert. And then the following year started off 8-3, but everything really went to shit in Jacksonville this year. And a lot of that is still kind of looming over with the fact that Trent Baalke is still the GM of this team. That is going to prevent the Jacksonville Jaguars from ever landing the top coaching candidates. That is, in my opinion, the reason they lost out on a Ben Johnson. The reason that Mike Vrabel probably never had an interest in this team. The reason that Liam Cohen said today that he's going back to Tampa and withdrawing from the Jacksonville Jaguars head coaching search. Trent Baalke is a cancer to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Nobody wants to work with him because he consistently produces bad rosters and gets head coaches fired. And if you're a first-time head coach, it can be scary to go with Baalke. Now, who do I think ends up here in Jacksonville? The first name that I thought of was Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy is a guy who's a veteran of the coaching game. He was willing to kind of be a yes man for Jerry Jones, so I think he could potentially be okay with Trent Baalke. He is an offensive-minded guy. We saw some of Dak Prescott's best seasons ever under McCarthy, so he could be useful in developing Trevor Lawrence. The one thing here is the Jacksonville Jaguars didn't interview Mike McCarthy at all. We saw he had some interest in the Bears job, interviewed with them, and maybe there's an interview coming down the line. I really wouldn't be surprised if McCarthy ended up with the Jaguars, but honestly, if he doesn't end up with the Jaguars, I think we see him take a year off of football or maybe go be an OC somewhere personally. I just don't think any of the other jobs scream McCarthy, so if it's not McCarthy here, my prediction at this point, based on who the Jaguars have interviewed, is Joe Brady. I think we've seen Joe Brady really excel at getting the best out of Josh Allen the past year and a half. When he took over the job a year and a half ago, the Bills rattled off 6 straight wins. Now they're in an AFC championship, and we are seeing the best version of Josh Allen. If you are the Jacksonville Jaguars, your number one goal with this head coach hiring is to make Trevor Lawrence work and to get the best out of him. The guy signed a massive contract extension last offseason that's about to start kicking in. $55 million a year. You have to get the best coach for him, and I think that means an offensive mind. I think that's why they were so interested in Liam Cohen, why I could see them going Mike McCarthy, but why I'm predicting that they go with Joe Brady. The New Orleans Saints, in my estimation, this is the worst available job in football. No cap space, no clear direction, no top 5 pick, no quarterback of the future. It is a bad spot, a spot full of veteran rosters. I liken the New Orleans Saints to, when you buy a fixer-up property, this is one of those fixer-up properties that you would just absolutely bulldoze and start over because the Saints are in a bad way. Meaning, my guess is whoever the coach is here, either one is going to be given a very long leash because the team kind of understands, like, we're in no position to contend at this point in time, and we're not going to have the money to, or two, this is going to be, a transitional coach, a quarterback that, what Jacoby Brissett was to the Patriots. That is what this head coach is going to be for the New Orleans Saints. And when I look at names here that they interviewed, Aaron Glenn, not probably what he's interested in. Joe Brady, not probably what he's interested in. Kellen Moore, probably not what he's interested in. Does Mike McCarthy want to finish off his career being just a transitional head coach for the Saints? I doubt it. This is a spot where maybe somebody could get in and just get their name out there. The Saints love defense. I have them going Anthony Weaver here, the defensive coordinator. I think that the culture in New Orleans has pretty much always been defense, at least since Sean Payton left. That has been where they have leaned. We saw that with Dennis Allen being promoted to head coach. I think Anthony Weaver could fit right in here. I don't expect this team to have any immediate success, but again, you need somebody that can develop talent. I believe that they're going to be going defense in this draft, develop a defense, and then create the foundation that's ready for a quarterback. You have some young offensive talent in a Chris Olave, in a Rashid Shaheed. You could figure out what you got to do at running back. Derek Carr is an okay enough quarterback. I don't see them moving off of him because they don't have the money to move off of him. So I think the Saints, big picture wise, would be best off bringing in a defensive guy to build up a strong defensive unit, get a good foundation, and then a couple of years, maybe you could get the right quarterback to contend. Up next, we have the Dallas Cowboys, who haven't exactly been active in their interviewing. They have only interviewed 4 names thus far: Robert Saleh, Leslie Frazier, Kellen Moore, and Brian Schottenheimer. And I gotta be honest here, this one feels like as much of a layup as the Jets. The Dallas Cowboys are going to bring in Kellen Moore to be their next head coach. He's previously been the offensive coordinator for them. The kind of plan at the time seemed like it was when McCarthy's done, Kellen Moore moves up. Kellen Moore moved on, went to the Chargers, now with the Eagles, had a really successful year in Philadelphia, could eventually be a Super Bowl winning coordinator if this year goes the way that Eagles fans hope it does. Kellen Moore back to the Cowboys. He was a backup quarterback there. He was an offensive coordinator there. He has a good relationship with Jerry Jones. He has a good relationship with Dak Prescott and some of that personnel already. I don't see the Cowboys making major changes to this roster, so I think it only makes sense to bring in Kellen Moore to be the team's next head coach. And lastly, we have the Raiders. This is the biggest up in the air one for me. I have no idea the direction that the Raiders are looking to go. They have massive question marks at quarterback. They don't have a GM at the moment. They have massive questions at offensive talent, defensive talent. You know, this is a team that really needs an overhaul in culture. Tom Brady has come in and shown an influence in making decisions. They fired their GM and head coach kind of post Black Monday. So these decisions were going on. Who do they bring in to build up the culture and really fix things up? Similar to the Saints, I think that this coach could be a transitional guy, but you know, they've interviewed Aaron Glenn. I don't think it's him. Steve Spagnuolo, I doubt it. Todd Monken, I'm not sure at this point in time. Robert Saleh, really? Vance Joseph, Ron Rivera hasn't been successful. I think the Raiders go with a guy who's been a successful culture builder before, and that is Pete Carroll. We know that Tom Brady has a respect for Pete Carroll. We know that just in general, the NFL has a respect for Pete Carroll. We've seen him build great cultures like he did in Seattle. You can build a strong defense and a strong foundation in Las Vegas under Pete Carroll. Is he going to be the guy that leads you to one day potentially competing with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, or Justin Herbert and the Chargers, or Bo Nix in the Broncos? I'm not sure. But I think he is a great guy to come in and hit the reset button on your franchise and get you on the right track. And I think the Raiders kind of understand right now in the AFC West, they are the clear fourth best team. There's not really a quarterback in this draft that I think is going to turn things around for them. Maybe you could argue if Shedeur Sanders slips to 6 and they pick him. I still don't really have high hopes there, but Pete Carroll, regardless of the quarterback situation, can instill a culture in Las Vegas. I think that is where they go with this hire. But as always, guys, these are just my thoughts. Be sure to let me know yours in the comment section down below. Where do you think this head coaching carousel ends up when it is all said and done? I appreciate the support you guys have shown. We're going to have a ton of great off-season content for you guys, you know, and when it comes to positional tier rankings, I'm going to be doing probably just weekly yap sessions, maybe like a podcast-esque deal talking about some of the news. I also want to start doing shorter length, maybe 4 to 6 minute videos when news breaks, just trying to get you guys news and rumors out there throughout the off season. I don't want to completely become a news channel per se, but I want to add some additional value and get some additional content to you guys out there in the off season. Anything that you guys specifically want to see, mock drafts I'll be doing, let me know that starting now in the comment section down below. I'm going to be asking for this at the end of the video. Let me know what direction you would like to see me go content wise for your off-season football needs. I appreciate your guys' support. I will catch you guys next time. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Peace.